Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, college coaches. This is Coach Anthony Williams, founder and CEO of Connected Athletics. We are a startup company based in Austin, Texas, and we're using our technology platform to allow student athletes to tell their story during the recruiting process, once they have offers, once they commit, and that transition, that very important transition from high school to college. Before I get into our guest tonight, I want to thank our sponsors. We've got three main sponsors that really work with us. One of them is Buffalo Wild Wings. We all love wings, and so really happy the VP of Inspire Brands in Houston, Brian Soltis, a good friend of mine, has partnered with me to show how much Buffalo Wild Wings enjoys helping student athletes across the country and especially here in Texas. So shout out to Buffalo Wild Wings. Also want to shout out my boys up in Nebraska, Go Edit Graphics. They are a company that does very creative graphics to help high school and college athletic programs use graphic designs to get out outbound information, whether it's a schedule for the season, player spotlight, or just any kind of outbound communication, both to their fan base or to their student athletes about changes or updates going on in the different athletic programs. So shout out to my guys, Zach, and the guys up in Nebraska. And then lastly, a new company in Houston called Epic 247. Epic is a sports apparel company doing new creative designs. They do uniforms and 7-on-7 jerseys and lots of workout gear and caps and socks and things like that. So good friend of mine, Stefan Johnson, is the president of that company. You can check them at Epic 247. And just so you know, Epic stands for Every Play I Compete. So shout out to my boys at Epic. With all that to the side, let's bring back somebody that actually I kind of started. We were just talking here. One of my first guests back during the pandemic when things shut down. I interviewed James back then. We got him back here today. So if you don't know the name, James Don II. He is a class of 22 offensive lineman. He's at New Braunfels High School here in Central Texas. James has got great size. He's 6'4", 305. He's got great feet, great hands. He's physical. He's a finisher. He just released his top 4 schools that he's going to focus on before he commits. James, how are you doing this evening?
Good. Yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I'm looking forward to kind of catching up. I obviously follow you on Twitter and we've traded some DMs and whatnot, but let's go back. Let's rewind time and go back a year. This new thing called COVID, which we never heard of, started shutting down camps and combines and recruiting and football in general. I had you on the show. Talk about kind of what you've learned as a person and as a student athlete over the last year dealing with this COVID pandemic.
I mean, I really learned just to be patient, that the schools will come when they come. I used to think, man, I seen all these other guys getting offers real early, get them. I was like, damn, I'm not going to get offered, but they'll come in. You just got to wait and they'll come.
Yeah. What did you do last year once things got shut down? What did you do to stay in shape? What did you do to stay sharp academically, obviously moving to virtual? And what did you do to keep your mind sharp? Because obviously we were going through a time where we didn't know when we were coming back. I mean, what are some of the things you'd share that helped you get through the pandemic?
I mean, I'm lucky enough that I got a gym downstairs in my garage, like a little setup. So I was using that, working out there. We got this place named Doc's Rec. It's kind of like a rec center kind of, so I go over there, work out, play basketball. But yeah, that's pretty much it, just like that.
Okay. And you also dealt with a coaching change, from my understanding. Is the same coaching staff there? How did your relationship with the coaches, get better? I'm sure you guys moved from face-to-face meetings to virtual meetings. How did that go for you?
We actually just now got a new O-line coach, Colton Hanson. He played at our school back in 2012, went to University of Tulane, and then he came back. So he's our O-line coach now. We got 2 other new coaches, but they're on defense. I haven't really met them that much yet. But, I mean, we're all in person because we're in Texas now. We're in Texas, yeah. So, I mean, we're in person. So nothing's really online anymore for us.
Okay. And then tell us, we just finished the summer, pretty much finishing the summer. Where did you camp? What did you do? How did you feel? How would you grade your summer from a recruiting standpoint, going to all the camps you went to?
I mean, I went to a bunch of camps. I mean, I remember going to 3 in a row, 4 in a row. It was crazy. I give it out of 10, I'd probably give it a 9 out of my performance. Cause I mean, I did rack up some offers over the camps and stuff just from schools that wanted to see me in person. So I feel like I did really good, and they got a chance to see what I could do in person.
Well, James, you got great size, obviously 6'4", 305. I know you've always been a big, strong kid. Have you grown? What were you this time last year? What was your height weight then?
I was probably about 6'2", maybe 290.
Okay. So you put on some good muscle and you've grown a little bit.
Yes.
I mean, in your family, obviously you've got, your father, maybe brothers and uncles. I mean, is there another possible late growth, a late spurt in growth here as you get into a transition to college?
I mean, my doctor said I'm supposed to grow another 5 inches, but I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
I'm fine with where I'm at now. But if it doesn't come, I'm good right now. But if it does come, that'll be a blessing. So
So
just
your growth plates are still wide open for him to tell you that you're 3 to 5 inches. Oh my goodness. So you could actually have a late growth spurt and maybe be 6'6", 6'7", and maybe move into being a tackle. I mean, is that something you're thinking about or no?
I mean, right now I'm more focused on guard center area. It just depends where I go, the level,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, I mean, I know my objective is to get an NFL, and at my size right now, around 6'3", 6'4", I look and play center.
Yeah.
So,
More
but
interior line. Yep. Well, for these coaches that maybe are not aware of you, you did a lot of camping and coach division your timeline, but tell them, I mean, you got yourself as a 3-star, you've got great film, you've got great size, strength. Tell these coaches one thing about you that they should know that they might want to think, you know what, we need another interior lineman. This is the kid when you look at. What's the one thing that you bring to the table that coaches should be aware of?
I'm very aggressive when I play. I mean, I'm the coolest, nicest guy off the field, but when we get on the field, it's like a switch. So it's just a bunch of aggressiveness. I'm smart, feel smart, and in the classroom, of course. But so you don't have to worry about none of that.
Okay. We talked about it earlier, James. So you went from a top 6 to a top 4. And for those that haven't seen that on his timeline, James, educate these coaches. What are your top 4 right now? And are you still kind of open? Because there will be some schools that will see you play this year and be like, you know what, we got an offer available. You may want to offer this kid going forward. But just give us an update on where you are in your recruiting.
My recruitment is 100% open right now, but my top 4 is Grambling State, Prairie View A&M, Texas Southern, and Southeastern Louisiana.
Okay.
I mean, right now with Dion coaching and HBCUs and all that, I feel like that's going to be the way to go. So we'll see. That's why I got 3 of them in my top 4. So
I love that. That's a trend we're starting to see with high school student athletes like yourself, that these HBCUs are starting to get a little bit more active in recruiting. And with the news of Dion and now Eddie George, tell us, I'm sure there's other schools you might be interested in, but tell us why you wanted to kind of focus more on HBCUs. What was your reason for that?
I mean, just the culture, like the brotherhood. I always thought it'd be cool because I'm from Amarillo, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to New Braunfels, so I'm not around that a lot. So I mean, it'll be cool. It'll be a cool experience. So my
Yeah.
family always told me that go to HBC, go to HBC. I was like, and I started looking into it, and I was like, okay, this might be something I want to do.
Yeah.
I do want to join Omega Psi Phi. So
Okay. Want to be a Q? I hear you.
that'll be a big deal breaker.
You got Qs in the family? You got frat people in your family or no?
I think I do, like my uncles and stuff. My dad said he was gonna join when he was in college, but he didn't have time. He said because he's an athlete as well. So, but not that I know of.
Okay. And why? I mean, you've already decided Q. No A Phi A, no Kappa.
I wouldn't be a Q.
What is it about Q? Is it you? Do you know somebody? Have you done your research, or why Q
I
dog?
have done my research, and I mean, I know a few people, just like some athletes from other schools and stuff, told me be a Q, be a Q. I said okay, so I started looking into it and stuff like that. So
Now Qs run deep. There's a lot of great football players that were our Qs, and you probably remember Coach Whitehead that was with me with FBU. He's a Q dog, and he lives it every day, even at 40 years old now. But that's great to hear. You're going to go to a HBCU, kind of enjoy that more diverse educational experience, and pledge. I mean, that's awesome. Tell me a little bit about, we're going into your senior year here. You've been working. What's the team looking like? What are your goals as a player this year? What are your goals for the team?
the team's looking really good right now. I feel like we can make a long playoff run. Hopefully, go to state. We're gonna have a lot of younger guys step up because our senior class isn't very deep. Like last year, I think we had 40 plus seniors leave. I think it was
Oh,
something
wow.
like that. So we're gonna have a lot of younger guys step up. But I mean, I'm just gonna grind, play as hard as I can, help the team as much as I can, play where they want me.
Well, I've gotten to know you pretty good these last couple of years. I know that you're a leader on the field, but now you're a senior. Talk about how your leadership changes now because you have those underclassmen looking up at you when things are going tough late in the fourth quarter, or they don't want to feel like practicing, or maybe this summer they didn't feel like coming to workouts. How has your leadership role changed with your team this year?
I mean, I feel like we're all a really tight group. Just because, like, when I was a sophomore, freshman, I would hang out with the upperclassmen in football, so I got to see how they interacted with me as when I was a younger guy. So I try to just bring that back and just talk to them the same way, keep their head up, you know.
Okay. Will you have a chance, or do you play a little defense? Are they using both sides of the ball? Or are you strictly going to play interior offensive line?
Nah, I don't play defense, just offense. I mean, at my school, I'm playing tackle right now, so
Okay.
I don't play no defense, no, sir.
Okay. And let's talk about academics. Obviously, the not COVID didn't just shut down football and camps and combines. It also shut down ACT and SAT tests. Give these coaches an update on where you are academically, your GPA, and if your test scores. What's the status of that?
I'm still waiting on my new GPA right now because of the last semester or whatever. So it should be around a 3.0 right now.
Okay.
And then my SAT, I'm taking it in August. I took it before, but something happened, so they had to scratch it, and I have to take it again in August. So still waiting on that.
Okay, good stuff. And then tell us going into your senior year, you've had a great camp season. You've been working out here in the off season. Give us kind of as you go into the season, what are your strengths as a player, and what are some of the things you're working on tightening up before you start the season?
I think my feet are really good for offensive linemen. Thing I need to strengthen up is probably just the motor, the whole game. Just keep going, never get tired. I mean, I'm 305, but I don't think I get that tired often. But when I watch film, I notice I'll slow down just a little bit. So just keeping that motor going the whole game.
Well, James, you've got a very rare talent, obviously. The fact that you're playing tackle now, you're probably going to play interior line at the college level, but you also play center. Talk about how much of an advantage for you to be able to play all three of those roles, center, guard, and tackle at a high level. I mean, as me as a coach, I'm looking at, if you play tackle, that means you already have great feet. You understand the important hand placement. So when you go inside, you're probably going to be dominating guys and using your physicality. Tell us your mindset, though, of being able to play all three positions.
I mean, my dad always told me learn everything. So I learned how to play center probably about a year or two ago. Just started snapping the ball, just getting used to it. And it's a very important thing just to learn all three. Just you never know where you're going to get moved. Somebody could get hurt. You might have to play center. You might have to play guard. So it helps out a lot, especially in recruitment.
Yeah, and you remember me saying that at many camps you've been to. The more things you can do, the more recruitable you are. And so the fact you can play all three, if this growth spurt does happen, even after your sophomore year in college, and they move you to tackle, I'm just telling you, the guys at the upper levels, man, they love guys that can play a lot of. Hey, coach, I'm a football player. You put me where you want if you want to win. So I love that you have that mentality. You mentioned how you like to play physical. For these coaches that maybe haven't seen your huddle video, talk about what you mean about being physical from an offensive lineman standpoint.
I'm gonna drive off the ball until the whistle blows. I'm gonna keep going until the whistle blows. But I mean, that motor doesn't stop right there. Just until the whistle blows, I'm gonna keep going.
Okay. James, tell us, you're in a pretty good district. Who's the best player that you have faced going into your senior year? Maybe somebody that's even already graduated, maybe as a sophomore back in the day. Who's the best, let's just say defense lineman, whether it's a D tackle or DN, who's the best one that is now playing ball somewhere? Who was that?
I'd say in my district, best player I've went against was last year. That was Trey Moore. He ended up going to Army, but I don't think he's going there anymore. But there's another one, Johnny Bowens.
Yep.
Goes to Judson. He's really good. He was a sophomore at the time, but he'll be really good, and he has a bright future ahead of him.
Well, let's talk about that for these coaches that don't know about your district. You've got Judson. You've got Sabot Steele. You've got you guys. There's a very strong difference, especially playing against two of the top programs in the state. How has that made you a better player, knowing that they are always going to have good athletes and good linemen come out of Judson and Steele? How's that made you better?
Just knowing that I'm always going to have the top competition against me. So like when you go to a camp, you won't be like, oh, he's big, he's this, he's that. You're used to it by now, so it helps a lot.
Okay. When do you plan on making your final announcement? Will it be mid-season, towards the end? How far you play this thing out?
I want to take my visits first, so maybe mid-season, beginning of the season area. But I'm gonna take my visits and I'll pick after that.
Very, very smart move. Some of these athletes, I'm sure you know some of them, they treat recruiting like it's a sprint, and it really is more of a marathon. It's a journey. So I'm glad to hear that you're going to actually take your visits, because visiting the campus and getting a feel for that campus, for that city, obviously is going to go a long way of where you're going to spend the next 3 to 5 years. So that's a very smart decision on your point. Let's talk about the point of when you do get into one of your schools you commit to. What do you plan on majoring in?
Kinesiology. So I want to
Awesome.
end up GAing, be there for a few years or 2 or 1, and then start as an assistant offensive line coach at a college, obviously, and then work my way up and just go by
Okay.
myself.
So you want to stay in football even after you're done playing the game, whatever that is, whether it's after the NFL or after college?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then tell us, what are you doing to help that transition? What are you doing as you prepare? I mean, you're an elite football player. You're preparing for games coming up and playing in college. What are you doing to say, okay, hey, what am I going to do to make sure I'm in a good place, majoring in kinesiology, to prepare myself for that transition once football is over?
Just listen to the coaches, taking as much knowledge as you can, and just everything they teach you, just soak it up like a sponge, and
Yeah.
get connections, because who you know is everything. So,
James, we talk about all the time about, players and their work ethic on the field and how they're grinding in the offseason and lifting and running. Talk about your work ethic in the classroom, about your grind in the classroom. You're solid 3.0 student. How do you balance time management of working out, practice, off-season workouts, things like that, and still keeping your grades up and preparing for the importance of academics so you can get your degree one day? How do you manage that?
me personally, I'm blessed enough at our school. We have iPads, so we can go to practice and everything's due at 12 o'clock. So we go to practice. I can get home. I can do all my homework at once on the computer. So it's not paper. I ain't gotta be like turn it in late the next day. I can turn it in right there. Boom, 11:30, done. So that's very blessing, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. One of the questions I always ask student athletes like yourself that, you're working out, you're getting ready for the season. When the season starts, you're playing games. When you have some free time, what is it you like to do when you're away, when you're not working out and not playing the game?
I do have a job, but I work at the float-in, so I'm security. It's kind of like a bouncer, kind of. So if a fight happens or something like that, I got to break it up, move them out.
Yeah.
But I like to hunt, fish. So I'm a big outdoors guy. I like to work.
All right.
Ranches
College coaches, you hear that? This is a young man that loves to fish, loves to hunt. So if that's part of your school's recruiting pitch, you might want to throw that out there, because James loves the outdoor life, which is awesome. James, we finish up here. We talked about your recruiting, talk about when you're going to commit now, but let's finish with this. When the game is over and you're done playing, whatever that is, and you want to be a coach, I mean, what is your ultimate goal? Do you want to be a head coach one day? Do you want to be a GM or an athletic director? To go out about 5, 8, 10 years, what do you see yourself doing in that time frame?
I just want to be an O-line coach. I never
Okay.
really wanted to be a head coach or nothing like that, or a GM or nothing like that. I just want to be an O-line coach. You know, teach everything that I've been taught over the years to the younger guys, and by that time. So I mean, hopefully I'll be at the college level. So just teach them and hopefully get them to the league.
Yeah. Okay. James, going in your senior year, we'll finish up with this. I mean, what's one piece of advice that you would have given yourself now that you didn't know as a freshman?
Ooh.
About football or life or academics or recruiting? What's one nugget of information you'd say, man, I wish I knew that back then?
Okay. Grades is don't slack off freshman and sophomore year, because that's what I did. I slacked off freshman year and sophomore year in my grades. That's one thing I would tell myself. Do not, or really anybody, do not slack off freshman, sophomore year on your grades.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I think a lot of kids don't understand that they're going to be a big recruit like yourself down the road, and they kind of don't take their academics that early, that serious, and then they're behind the puck. And then you're playing catch up for the next year, sophomore, junior, senior year. And obviously, how important academics is, because the first thing college coaches, for all you younger athletes that are listening, James will tell you the first thing coaches check. They don't check about your height, your weight, your huddle video, your speed, your strength. They're going to check those grades first, because you can't get into a school. What kind of football player you are doesn't matter. So it's a great point here from someone like yourself that's been through this process now. One other question, James, I'll ask before I let you go for the night here about the recruiting process. I mean, a lot of ups and downs. You mentioned patience. You mentioned grinding, getting them many camps. What's one thing from a recruiting standpoint, as far as going to all these big man camps and things like that? What advice would you give a young offensive or defensive lineman on how that recruiting is different from a quarterback, running back, receiver?
Just be ready, be prepared. work on footwork, stuff like that. You don't necessarily have to be the strongest guy or the tallest guy or the biggest guy. If your fundamentals and your technique are right, you're going to win. You're going to show out, and those college coaches will be on you.
Yeah, great point. James, man, I'm proud of you. I can't wait to hear where you'll end up transitioning to school. I'll be a big fan coming out, watch you. You know, like always, if you have any questions, you need anything, man, just reach out to me. But tell the family I said hello, man. I'm very proud of how you've matured both mentally and physically since the last year, man. I'm really excited for your future.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, man. Have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.
You too.